It started with flashing lights and a siren that tore through the quiet morning. The city was waking up. Coffee shops opening, traffic crawling, people running late for work. And somewhere in the middle of it, a man in a dark sedan signaled and pulled to the curb. Mr. David Turner looked in his rear-view mirror, calm but puzzled. He wasn't speeding. He wasn't swerving. He wasn't doing anything at all. Still, the siren didn't lie. He rolled down his window as the officer approached, tall, rigid, mirrored sunglasses hiding his eyes. License and registration. "Good morning, officer," David said quietly. "May I ask what the problem is?" The officer didn't answer. He just snapped his fingers. "License, registration." David handed them over. The man looked at the ID, raised an eyebrow. "Turner, David, were you headed in a suit like that?" "Work," David replied. "Downtown." "What kind of work?" "Government work." That made the officer smirk. "Sure you do." A silence fell, the kind that stretches too long and says too much. Cars slowed to watch. The officer leaned closer. "Mind stepping out of the vehicle?" David's brow furrowed. "Is that necessary?" The tone shifted, colder. "It's not a question." David opened the door slowly, careful, deliberate. He'd been here before, not this exact place, but this exact feeling. He stepped onto the asphalt, hands visible. The officer circled him like a predator tracing a boundary. "You in a hurry, Mr. Turner?" "No, sir." "Then you won't mind if I check your car." David's eyes steadied on him. "Do you have probable cause?" The man's jaw tightened. "Do you want to go downtown, sir?" David exhaled through his nose, then nodded toward the open trunk. "Be my guest." The officer searched, glove box, back seat, trunk, nothing. But the look on his face didn't ease. He wasn't searching for contraband anymore. He was searching for superiority. And what he didn't know was that the man standing calmly on the side of that road wasn't just another driver. He was a newly appointed head of internal affairs for the entire police department, the very office that investigates officers like him.
Before we proceed, if you believe that power reveals character, not just authority, subscribe to Black Justice TV, because every story here proves that justice begins where prejudice ends.
The radio on the officer's shoulder crackled. "Unit 7 Bravo, you clear?" He pressed a button. "Yeah, just a routine stop. Suspicious vehicle." "Suspicious." David's eyebrow lifted. "Suspicious how?" "Just answer the question, sir." "Am I under arrest?" "Not yet." There was the smirk again. A few minutes later, another patrol car arrived. A female officer stepped out, Sergeant Maria Lopez. Her expression was alert, not aggressive. "What's going on, Ryan?" she asked. "Just doing my job," he said. "Guy was driving too slow in the left lane." "Too slow?" she repeated. "Yeah, like he was hiding something." Lopez looked at David, calm, composed, respectful. "Sir, is everything okay?" "Yes, ma'am. Just a misunderstanding." She studied him for a second, her instincts kicking in. There was something in his tone, the restraint of someone used to being patient in rooms full of arrogance. She glanced at the ID still in Ryan's hand. Then her eyes widened slightly. "Ryan, where'd you pull him over?" "Right here. Why?" "Because his credentials are flagged. He's cleared for high-level access." Ryan frowned. "What are you talking about?" Lopez stepped closer, lowering her voice. "This man works for us." He blinked. "What do you mean?" She handed him back the ID, pointing at the embossed seal. "Look again." His hand froze. The reality hit him like cold wind. The man he'd been talking down to wasn't just some commuter. He was the new director of internal affairs, the department that could end his career with one phone call. Ryan's face paled. He turned back, swallowing hard. "Sir, I didn't realize." David met his eyes, calm as ever. "That's the problem," he said softly. "You didn't realize. You assumed." The silence that followed was heavier than sirens. Even the passing cars seemed to slow in respect. Lopez cleared her throat. "Director Turner, I apologize for the misunderstanding." He nodded. "Thank you, Sergeant. You handled it professionally." Then he looked at Ryan. Do you know what department I run? Ryan's mouth barely moved. Internal affairs. That's right, which means I review officer conduct. Traffic stops included. Ryan's chest rose and fell quickly. Sir, I wasn't. David lifted a hand. Stop. Don't explain. Listen. He stepped closer, his voice low but resonant. Every day, people like me get treated as suspects before citizens. You wear that badge to protect, not profile. You ask what kind of work I do. Now you know. I make sure officers remember who they serve. Ryan's throat tightened. Sir, please. David looked at Lopez. Sergeant, write up the report exactly as it happened. Every word. Yes, sir. He turned back to Ryan. Take off your sunglasses. Ryan hesitated, then did, without the reflection to hide behind. The fear was plain. David's tone softened. You still have a job, for now. Use it to unlearn what you think you know about people. He stepped into his car, rolled up the window, and drove off, leaving the flashing lights behind like confession caught in daylight. 2 days later, the department buzzed with whispers. An anonymous complaint had been filed. Review board scheduled. Internal affairs calling in witnesses. Ryan sat in the waiting room, hands trembling. When the door opened, David stood at the head of the table. No uniform, just that same calm authority. Officer Hughes, he said evenly, take a seat. Ryan obeyed. David read the report aloud, factual, emotionless. Then he looked up. Do you understand why we're here? Ryan nodded weakly. Yes, sir. Good. Then tell me what you learned. Ryan hesitated. I learned that judgment doesn't belong on the side of the road. It belongs in the courtroom. David watched him, searching for sincerity, not perfection. Finally, he nodded. Then maybe there's hope for you. He closed the file. You'll attend the Cultural Bias Retraining Program for 6 weeks. After that, we'll reevaluate your field eligibility. Ryan swallowed hard. Thank you, sir. Don't thank me. Earn it. After the hearing, Sergeant Lopez caught up with David. You handled that better than most would have. He smiled faintly. Anger changes behavior fast. Respect changes it forever. She nodded. You really believe he'll change? David looked out the window at the patrol cars below. I have to, because if I stop believing that, I shouldn't be in this chair. Weeks passed. Ryan attended every class, sat through difficult conversations, listened to people he'd never really seen before. Somewhere between lectures and late-night reflections, his pride began to crack, and humility slipped in through the fractures. One day, after the final session, he walked out of the training hall and saw David waiting by his car. Director Turner, he said quietly, I wasn't expecting you. I came to see if the training worked. Ryan hesitated, then offered his hand. It did, and I'm sorry. David shook it firmly. Good. Now prove it, not to me, but to the people you meet next. Ryan nodded. I will. A few months later, a news segment aired across the city. Local officer commended for de-escalating potential confrontation. The clip showed Ryan calming a tense scene. No shouting, no assumptions, just patience. In the background, David watched from his office, a rare smile forming. He picked up his pen and signed the commendation letter himself. Below the signature, he wrote a single line, Respect restores what fear destroys. That evening, he drove home, the same road, the same curve where it all began. He stopped at a red light and looked in the mirror, at himself, at the badge clipped to the visor, at the reflection of change. Then he whispered, almost to the wind, Justice isn't about who wears a uniform. It's about who lives by its meaning. The light turned green. He drove on, calm, certain, and quietly proud that somewhere out there, one less siren would sound like fear.
If the story moved you, share it. Remind the world that authority without empathy becomes tyranny, but empathy turns power into protection. Subscribe to Black Justice TV, where every story restores faith in what justice can still mean.